There were beings in ancient Africa that kings bowed to, not because they were told to, because they were afraid not to. These were not ordinary gods. They were forces, ancient, documented, and according to the people who encountered them, completely ungovernable by any human power on earth. And somehow, history forgot to mention them. Across the ancient African continent, long before colonial borders carved up its soil, there existed deities so powerful that entire kingdoms were built around them, not above them. Kings did not command these forces. Kings served them. Generals sought their blessing before war. Healers channeled their energy before surgery. Farmers consulted them before planting. And entire cities, their architecture, their laws, their very existence, were arranged to honor what these forces demanded. According to ancient oral tradition and sacred texts that survived centuries of deliberate destruction, these lost African deities did not just influence the world, they shaped it. Today, we uncover the ones history tried hardest to erase. The lost African deities that were, allegedly, according to everything their people recorded, more powerful than any king who ever sat on any throne. Stay with me, because one of these names may already belong to you. Before we talk about power, let us talk about what power costs. In the Yoruba tradition, there was a deity so feared that even Shango, the god of thunder, allegedly sought her counsel before battle. Her name was Oya, and her domain was not war, it was not wealth, it was not even love. Oya governed the wind, the storm, the boundary between the living world and whatever comes after it. According to ancient Yoruba belief, Oya stood at the gates of death, not as a destroyer, but as a guardian. She decided what passed through and what did not. She controlled the transition between worlds with the same authority that a river controls everything that flows through it. Kings, powerful kings, kings with armies, allegedly sent offerings to Oya before any major decision involving life and death. Because in the Yoruba understanding of the universe, no human authority could override hers. But here is the part that historians rarely discuss. Oya was specifically associated with change. Radical, irreversible world restructuring change, the kind of change that cannot be undone once it begins. And according to oral tradition recorded across multiple West African communities, when Oya moved, empires fell. Not as metaphor, as documented historical pattern. Every major political collapse in the ancient Yoruba world, according to the priests and griots who maintained these records, was preceded by signs that practitioners of the Oya tradition recognized immediately. The wind changed direction for no meteorological reason. The storms came before the season, and the kings who ignored those signs, allegedly, did not survive what came next. Now pay close attention, because this one breaks every assumption Western theology brought to Africa. Among the Fon people of ancient Dahomey, present-day Benin, one of the most sophisticated kingdoms in pre-colonial African history, the supreme creator deity was not a king, was not a warrior, was not even singular. Mawulisa was two. Mawu, the moon, the feminine force, the wisdom that works in darkness, in rest, in the long cycles of time. Lisa, the sun, the masculine force, the energy that drives, creates, and burns through the visible world. And they were, according to Fon cosmology, inseparable. Not two gods who worked together, one divine consciousness that expressed itself in two forms, each incomplete without the other, each more powerful because of the other. This is not simply theology. This is a cosmological framework that modern physicists exploring the concept of complementarity, the idea that reality requires opposites to be fully real, are still working to fully articulate. The Fon articulated it thousands of years ago, and built a kingdom around it. Dahomey, the kingdom that organized itself around the Mawulisa tradition, reportedly produced a military force so disciplined, so strategically sophisticated, that it held off European colonial forces longer than almost any other West African state. According to historians of the region, Their military commanders attributed their strategic thinking directly to the Mawulisa framework, the constant integration of opposites, strength and wisdom, force and patience, action and stillness. Two forces, one unbreakable mind, more powerful than any king who tried to conquer them, because they were not fighting, they were balancing. But here's where the story goes somewhere even history was not prepared for. Every tradition, every cosmology, every ancient African spiritual system, no matter how different from the others, seems to agree on one thing. Before the gods, there was something older. In the Fon tradition, before Mawulisa, before the moon and the sun, before creation itself, there was Nanabaluku, the primordial one, the ancient beyond ancient, the consciousness, according to Fon belief, that existed before existence had a name. Nanabaluku allegedly created Mawulisa, and then, and this is the part that should stop you completely, withdrew. Not because Nanabaluku was finished, but because the tradition holds that true power does not need to be present to be felt, that the deepest creative force in the universe works through everything it has already made, rather than through direct intervention. This concept, a primal creative intelligence that operates through the structures it built, rather than through constant visible action, is strikingly similar to what certain theoretical physicists describe when they talk about the initial conditions of the universe. The idea that something set the laws of reality in motion, and that those laws now are the ongoing presence of whatever set them. The Fon elders had a simpler way of saying it. Nanabaluku does not need to speak, because everything that exists is already Nanabaluku's voice. Across the continent, east now, into Igbo territory, into the communities that built some of the most complex democratic governance structures in pre-colonial Africa, there was a creator deity whose name carried a double meaning that no translation has ever fully captured. Chineke. Chi, personal divine force, the specific spirit of purpose and destiny embedded in every individual human being. Ik, the act of creation, the moment of becoming. Combined, Chinki translates approximately as the creator who gave each created thing its own divine nature. This is extraordinary, because what the Igbo tradition encoded in this single word is a cosmological idea that most theological systems spend centuries arguing about. The idea that the creator and the created are not entirely separate, that the act of creation transferred something of the creator's nature into every created thing, making every human being, every living creature, every element of the natural world a carrier of divine consciousness. According to Igbo tradition, this was not philosophy. This was practical knowledge. It meant that every person, regardless of status, birth, or power, carried an irreducible sacred core that no king, no conqueror, no authority could legitimately violate. Allegedly, Igbo communities that maintained this belief most strongly were also the ones that proved most resistant to the authority of external rulers, including colonial ones. Because you cannot completely govern a people who believe, at the foundation of their entire understanding of reality, that they already carry something divine that belongs to no earthly power. Chineke did not make subjects. Chinke made souls. Now step back, because something is visible here that requires your full attention. Oya, who governed death and change, and whose movements allegedly predicted the fall of empires. Mawulisa, the divine duality whose framework allegedly produced military genius no colonial force could easily defeat. Nanabaluku, the primordial consciousness that withdrew, and in withdrawing, became everything. Chineke, the creator who gave each created being an irreducible divine core that made them, at the foundation of their existence, ungovernable. These are not four separate mythologies from four separate cultures. Look at what they have in common. Every single one of these deities, in some form, encodes the same message. True power cannot be owned by a king. True power is distributed, embedded in the fabric of things, present in every human being who carries the tradition, alive in the wind, the water, the boundary between life and death, the moment of creation itself. These were not stories invented to entertain. These were deliberate philosophical frameworks, built and maintained across centuries, specifically designed to ensure that no human authority ever became absolute. Because a people who believe that the divine lives in them, not above them, not in a palace, not in a foreign institution, cannot be completely conquered, which is exactly why these traditions were specifically targeted for destruction, and exactly why they survived anyway. There is a question that these 4 deities, and every lost African deity that history tried to bury, eventually forces you to ask, if these were merely myths, if these were simply the primitive beliefs of people waiting for civilization to arrive and correct them, why did it take the full machinery of colonial power across 4 centuries to try to remove them? You don't spend 400 years destroying something that isn't dangerous. You destroy what is powerful, what is true. What if the people who carry it ever fully understand what they are holding cannot be used against them? These deities were more powerful than kings because they made the people who believed in them impossible to completely rule. That is not superstition. That is the most sophisticated political technology the ancient world ever produced, and it is still here, still in the names, still in the ceremonies, still in the grandmothers who remember, and the children who are beginning to ask why the history books skipped these pages. What do you think? Were these ancient African deities real forces, or the most ingenious system of cultural resistance ever designed? Drop your answer below. And if you want to go deeper, the next video goes somewhere even darker, into the African deities that colonial administrators specifically named in their reports as threats to order. Because some stories, they really did not want you to find.